I quit social media, and boy, do I feel lighter. Social media has been a part of my life for, I'd say a majority of it. I think I was probably 12, 13 when I first got onto social media. Facebook would have been the first thing that came out at the time that my parents would have been using, and I was infatuated with the idea of being able to talk to friends online and see what they're doing and be able to post pictures and updates of life and what's going on and fun trips and all the things that social media portrayed. That was a wonderful selling point for many years, I feel like. I remember my mom didn't want me having Facebook, but my dad was cool about it. And so I'd go to my dad's house and I would be on Facebook. And at the time, there were Facebook games to play. This would have been around the time of like 2000. This would have been around the time of like 2008 to 2012, somewhere around that time frame. Middle school for me. When I first got Facebook, it was one of those things where it's like, okay, I'm friends with like 5 people at school, but I know, maybe 70 acquaintances or maybe 100 acquaintances. And so really fast, you get to the point where you're like, oh, it's just me and my 5 friends here. And then it would get all the way up to like 112. And you're like, I don't even know if I actually know 112 people. And then as you got older and older and older, it would be more and then into the thousands and increase. And then you realize that there's more people on your social media that you don't know than there are that you do actually know in real life. And for that reason, social media can be a great thing, especially Facebook and Instagram, because it helps you connect with other people. If you're an artist, you can find other like-minded artists on there. If you're into film, or if you're into motorcycles, or if you're into collecting cool rocks, there is a place out there on the internet for you. That's the scary part. It can be comforting. It can feel like hanging out with your friends. There's a lot of things it can feel like, but it will never feel the same as real life connection and real life moments, which I realized I was getting away from. I realized that as I got older, social media was one thing that was always a part of my life, and it never really went away. It was always there, whether I was happy or sad or upset or bored, it was always there for me. I would be walking from one room to the next, and on my walk from that room to that room, I would have my phone in my hand looking at Facebook or scrolling Instagram. It's so unhealthy that I couldn't even allow myself to go to the bathroom and piss without having one hand available to look at something on my phone. It was with me when I was eating. It was with me when I was with friends. It was with me when I was with family. I can't remember a time that social media wasn't there for me. I was young. I was really young. And I feel like I lost out on a lot of time and memories and moments that I occupied with social media rather than allow myself to be bored. Because when you're bored, that's when your mind wanders. And that's when you can come up with cool things. And that's when you can create. And that's what we are when we're children. And I can't really speak for the children of today's age, where it almost seems like their parent is a iPad or some sort of tablet in front of their face where they can play games or watch something. And that's only a couple generations from the time period that I grew up in. And I have a few memories from my childhood that were pleasant and that were full of happiness and good times. But it seems like a lot of the time that I would hear previous generations talk about where social media wasn't a thing. They didn't have phones in their pockets with them everywhere they went. Hearing about the millennial and Gen X upbringing, it's different from what I experienced. And in a way, it makes me long for a world that I never got to actually truly exist in. It makes me long for a time that was simple, before the digital age, before the dark ages, before everything was instant. And I feel like getting rid of social media is the first step in trying to find that world in today's constant hustle and bustle and busy life. And I'm going to make a video about this too later, but that almost even translates into my physical life, not just my digital life, but going back to physical media. You know, I used to collect records for a long time. I used to collect records that were of all different decades, different genres. I would go out and spend $35 on a brand new record if it was an artist or, a band that I really liked, or if it just was a really cool looking album. But oftentimes I was collecting records that were in the $2 and $5 bins that were maybe a little scratched up, but they were old. They had character, and they had been used and well loved. These were records that people took a moment out of their day to pull out of a sleeve, put onto a player, pull the needle up and drop it on, in order to hear sound, in order to hear music. And you had to stop what you were doing or do it before you began your task. It wasn't something you did while you were doing your task. Sure, maybe you would, get to a stopping point with dinner and you would flip it over to side B, or maybe you'd ask somebody else in the room to do it. But I guess the point of where I'm getting here is there was a set of intention behind listening to a record. You couldn't just pull it out of your pocket, turn it on, and throw it on the counter like you can with a phone and with Spotify. And I guess I'm kind of getting off track here, but it all kind of correlates. It's all part of the same idea, right? And going back to a physical media instead of a digital media is, I feel like, a way to kind of ground yourself again. Take that extra few steps to be intentional with what the action is you're doing. I feel like that's something that social media takes out of our everyday lives. I see more and more people who, not necessarily that I know personally, but people that are close to someone I know, get hurt on a motorcycle or die on a motorcycle because somebody else was driving and not paying attention and was looking at their phone and probably scrolling TikTok when they decided to pull out in front of a motorcyclist. It takes away life in so many different meanings, in so many different levels. It can take others' lives. It can take your own life, both mentally and physically. I think that everything kind of starts in your mind and works its way outwards. And I guess a nice way of saying this is when we're constantly consuming negative content, when we're constantly having things thrown in our face that are really depressing and designed to evoke fear and designed to evoke strong emotions of anger and hatred. And I think that having that constantly creates a living hell in your mind. And I can't help but to think that if you stay there too long, your physical life around you also starts to become hell. And I think that can go for anything. I don't think that's just from social media. I think that can go from anything. If you don't move past a roadblock in your life, if you don't move past something that's keeping you from going to the next thing and recognizing what that is in order to clear that path and work, or even just take baby steps into working towards clearing that path. I think that for me, one of those roadblocks for me, I think, was social media. I think it was the misuse of social media. It was the not able to do anything productive because I was glued to my fucking phone. I would lay in bed and I would have something on TV, usually a YouTube video, and then I would be scrolling on Facebook Marketplace specifically, looking at shit that I don't need, nor do I have the money realistically to be able to afford to buy it right now. It's like I was shopping for future me. Like, oh, one day I'm gonna have some money and I'll be able to buy that thing, you know? It's retarded, really. When I could have been using that time to do something productive. I could have been using that time to work on a video. I could have been using that time to read a book. I could have been using that time to play RuneScape or some other video game that I enjoy. I could have been using that time to meditate or clean or do this or fucking anything else. Write a song. You know, since I quit social media, I have been working on music more. Music's been a very important part of my life since I was a very small age, and I've played instruments most of my life. And I know for a fact that there are times in my life where I knew I should have been practicing, or I knew I should have been playing my guitar, or I knew I should have been working on a song or something, and instead I was on Facebook or I was on Instagram. Looking at dumb shit, looking at things that don't even matter, looking at motorcycles and guitars and Star Wars quotes and tits and tattoos and vacation spots around the world and cars and what the fuck else ever was on there. Dumb memes, right? And it's not that none of that stuff matters, because in some way each of those things matters to me to some degree in my life, and conglomerately they do make up my life. And I think that's where social media companies prey on people. They want your time, they want your attention. Every time you're on your Instagram or your Facebook or your TikTok or whatever, fill in the blank, it's an opportunity for them to target you and advertise to you and try to get you to buy something that you don't need or don't have the money for. And don't worry, because if you don't have the money, there's Klarna and there's other ways of you can pay this amount of money for the rest of your life every other month or every week or whatever the hell. You can buy it now, though. You can have it right now. You don't have to work for it. It's it's crooked. It's evil. It's cruel when you really think about the psychology behind social media. And of course, these are all my own thoughts. I'm not coming to you with statistics, and I'm not coming to you with proof and, hey, here's what's actually going on. But these are my own theories. These are my own thoughts. This is me, you know? This is me expressing myself on how I view social media and yeah, it can be used for a lot of great things. It can be used to share the kids and share, you know, whoever with extended family and share moments and, hey, so-and-so got engaged and I just bought a new house and awesome. It is great for that. But social media has filled in so much other stuff that they recommend to you to look at, to watch, that you didn't even choose to watch, but you're choosing to watch it because you're spending your time scrolling. And when I say you, I'm talking to me. I'm talking to myself. I spent so much time scrolling through dumb shit that didn't fucking matter. And I could have been playing my guitar. I could have been making YouTube videos. I could have been writing. I could have been doing something other than fuck off on Facebook. And yes, there are times I believe we should brain rot. I believe there are times that we should physically and mentally and emotionally unplug from the world and decompress. But I don't think that viewing the world through your phone is the way to do that. I think that making bread or writing or reading a book or taking a walk, I think all of those are better options than getting on social media. if you're bored or if you need to decompress, lay in bed, watch movies all day, have a Harry Potter marathon. It's gonna be fall here soon. It's a great time to have a Harry Potter marathon. With you and your bestie, you and your partner, your best friend, your cat, whoever. Just cuddle up on the couch and have a Harry Potter marathon. The point is, I'm tired of being preyed on. I think I left this out earlier. I started to go into it and then I went down another rabbit hole of other things. But where I was going with the whole, like, all those things on social media that I see are in some shape, form, or fashion important to me. I think what I was trying to say there is that social media giants will, like, the investors, pay to keep your attention to the social media developers, right? So in order to do that, they want it to seem as though you're doing something productive with your time, or that you're seeing things that matter. And that's why it works in a algorithm to show you things. So if I like one picture of a Harley Davidson motorcycle, well, then now in my Explore feed, I'm going to see a lot of Harley Davidson motorcycles. The same goes for anything out there. I accidentally liked a gym workout protein shake powder thing, and that was all my ads were then. Or you ever had the weird thing happen to you where you're sitting on the couch and you're like, this is a great movie. Hey, you know what, hon? We should get some of those Biscoff cookies next time we go to the store. And then you pull out your phone and you're scrolling and you go, huh, that's weird. They're having a sale at Kroger on Biscoff cookies right now. Did you know, hon, did you know that? They're listening. Gotta be paying attention, right? I know a lot of this is probably a little woo-woo for some people, and they're like, yeah, whatever. But when's the last time you heard a conspiracy theory that didn't come true? Still waiting on the Epstein files. So before I came out here, this is my beautiful van, by the way, that my partner Alicia and I built. Before I decided to come out here and do this video, I spent some time journaling, and I wrote down some thoughts, and I wanted to read those thoughts to you. And some of it's things I've already gone over, some of it might be new, and the rest of it I'll, maybe reiterate after I read it. But this is what I wrote. Social media has controlled my life way more than I'd like to admit. I feel as though I've been robbed of time that I could have been living in the moment for. Moments I could have used for problem solving, critical thinking, or even daydreaming. As soon as a split second of boredom creeps in, it's right to Instagram or Facebook. Every free second was being begged by social media platforms to brain rot instead. What was once used as a way to stay connected with people I know, meet new connections with like-minded cool people, eventually became an addiction to numb myself. It became the thing keeping me from acting upon what was actually keeping me from processing emotions. Low vibrational feelings of anxiety, doom and gloom, despair and hopelessness. That's what I was constantly feeling. It's because it's all I was consuming on these sites. War, failing economy, fascism, women's rights being stripped away, immigrants being locked up in concentration camps. See, even now thinking about it, I can feel the anger boiling up inside of me while the Emperor Palpatine says, "Good. Let your anger fuel you on your path to understanding the true power of the dark side." Those horrible things that are taking place right now here in modern history in the United States, it's important to know, it's important to have some sort of awareness and understanding to. However, it's so unhealthy to see and consume every day nonstop. I had to get away from it to protect my mind, to keep my soul, my inner child safe. Getting off and letting go of social media allowed me to feel like a child again. It allowed me to get bored and create or daydream. the same way I used to when I was little and I had my own world. I was in my own bubble. I believe that's what this is all for, is to reignite that passion and love for life again. Unplug from the nonsense and find myself again. I feel like it's so easy to get wrapped up in everyone else's opinions on life and the world that we begin to sometimes accept others' truths as our own. I'm currently in a chapter of my life right now where I am reinventing myself. I only want to know my truth, not the thoughts and opinions of others. So this is me blocking out the noise, at least to the best of my ability. And I feel like as long as you're doing your best, what more could anybody ask from you? I can't change the economy right now. I can't really change my living situation or my job, or any of the things that would theoretically in societal terms bring you happiness. But I can unplug from social media and I can let go of all the nonsense. And I'm not saying that the things that are going on in the world right now are nonsense, although there is a lot of nonsense out there. I think what I'm trying to say is I don't need to be constantly bombarded by it. I don't need to constantly have it in my face and in my ears and in my head and my mind all the time. I think that I need to let myself get bored, let myself create, let myself have fun with life again. You know, like I've had so many ups and downs in my life, especially over the past few years. And those who know me personally will know what I'm talking about. Those who don't, we'll get into it as we go on this journey together. We'll talk more about trauma. So, basically, what I'm trying to say is this is a new chapter for me. This is this whole like let's make some shit, put it out there. You know, making music and making content and whatever. And you know, some people are probably going to be like, oh, well, you're still on YouTube or you're still on Reddit. And yes, well, I guess those can be looked at as social media platforms in their own way. They are different. I feel like Reddit is a little bit more, depends on where you look, right? Is a little bit more thought out, where you can write your thoughts and opinions and everything out and have other people interact with you instead of it just being pictures of bullshit. Whereas YouTube is long form content. Yes, there's the reels, or the shorts, or whatever the fuck is on there. But I guess what I'm trying to say is, for the most part, you can choose what you consume on those sites, and you can also choose to consume long form content. A lot of what I look at on Reddit is long stories, whether it's personal experiences or if it's a fictional story or a horror story or whatever. It gives me content to read on here, actually. But I'll say the rest of it, it's noise, really. I think TikTok is just to keep you addicted and keep you having the attention span of a goldfish. I think that's another reason why, and again, I'll talk about this in a future video. This video is probably already getting too long. But I think it's another reason why I want to go back to physical media, is because it brings your attention span back into the forefront of your mind that social media has absolutely destroyed for all of us. That's another tangent for another day. It's not been that long for me. I got off TikTok a long time, like months and months and months ago. Instagram was 2 weeks ago, and Facebook was a little while ago. It was very recent. We'll just say that. I was keeping it because, you know, I was trying to have the excuse like, oh, I'll keep Facebook so I can look on Marketplace and be able to buy some shit I don't need. I had to get off of that too. So I've gotten off the big three, and I don't plan on going back. And maybe one day I will. Maybe one day I'll have a different approach to it, or maybe one day societally, all of us will have a different approach to it. Maybe we'll have a different mindset with it. I will say it's pretty impressive that we've only had this technology for about 2 decades now, and we're already learning the long-term effects of it and how it's affecting generationally going on. As time progresses, we get to see how the younger generations who have only ever grown up in a way of having social media and having digital whatever in their face, distraction in their face at all times. we're going to see how that affects them. You know, I don't have kids. I'm not having kids. I don't have any intention of having kids. I can't have kids, but I have a niece, and I worry about her. You know, I worry about my got some friends I've, you know, little ones, and I worry for them. You know, and so I feel like we have to be the ones who set the example, and we have to learn what that healthy boundary is with social media. I'm not saying we can't have it all together. I'm not trying to get everybody to be like, oh yeah, anti-social media, let's delete it all, let's burn it to the ground. I'm not trying to lead the raid into the town with pitchforks and fire. I just am trying to bring to some people's attention, whoever, if this comes across your path, it was meant to come across your path apparently, but whoever views this video, I hope that you're able to take something from it. I hope there was a moment in this video where you're able to go, yeah, I agree. I feel the same way. That validates me. Thank you. I hope. If there was, I've done my job. As an artist, as a creator, I've done my job at creating a moment for somebody else. I feel like the world is lacking moments. I feel like the world, societally, we're lacking that. And I think focusing on moments, focusing on being intentional, focusing on where your mind is, I think it's important that we focus on healing as a society. And I think this is, I don't know if it's the first step, but it's a step in that. Thanks for watching. Good talk.